not exactly the way that we went to meet this Tuesday. Obviously, the Buffalo Bills opened their 2023-2024 NFL season last night at MetLife Stadium against the rival Jets, and it ended in true Bills fashion, if we should say the least. Highs, lows, then disaster at the end. We got a lot to unravel. We have a lot to talk about tonight when it comes to this game, particularly, and the Buffalo Bills moving forward. Obviously, if you were watching the game last night, where most of America was, you saw that Aaron Rodgers of the New York Jets went out on the first series. Mallory torn. Today it was revealed that he has a full tear of his, I believe, his tendon. So he is out for the season, and you would assume that that very moment the Bills did have control of the game. You went to halftime with a 13-3 lead, and you came out of halftime, and you disastrous second half, 4 turnovers from our quarterback Josh Allen, and a punt return for a touchdown to end in sudden death to end OT. A lot to unravel, James. I mean, I guess first of all, man, how you doing? First of all, how you doing? Just
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Just been football all weekend, football on Monday. And now I get to come out with everybody, talk that talk. You know how we do, JT.
mm,
And be able to, reflect and see, talk a little bit of pros and cons from the game, what we thought, what we seen, compare it a little bit, maybe debate a little bit.
now.
Um, I'm excited to be on it and be able to talk some football with y'all.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, tonight we got a pretty good segment lined up for you. We're going to talk about obviously our quarterback and the situation that we have had with our quarterback. And I actually got stats from week 8 from last season throughout the playoffs until last night. I also have his stats too against his last 5 games versus Robert Saleh and the New York Jets. I think that'd be very interesting to look at tonight. But man, you know, you go into New York week 1. Now, mind you, I'll be completely honest with you. I had the Buffalo Bills losing this game. This is one of the ones I had checked off as a loss going into my season predictions. But that was before Aaron Rodgers would go down after 4 plays and be out for the rest of the season.
Mhm.
Now, I know a lot of people say, hey, it's one game. And I get that sentiment. I get it. And I don't fully disagree with it. Boy, I just think that an Aaron Rodgers Jets, and you could just, even if you weren't at the stadium, you could feel just the energy drop when he went on that
Absolutely.
card, and he wasn't coming.
It popped the air out their balloon, you know.
Yeah,
But I think they were desperate, right? If you're the Jets, you go into full panic mode this morning.
mm,
If you lost that game and you're starting quarterback, I don't think they had no other choice. Those type of teams are dangerous to play, man. Um, they're gonna scratch, they're gonna claw. I mean, they get paid too.
they do.
Um, and a lot of people, I think it's disrespectful how a lot of fans talk about it like they just chopped liver because Aaron Rodgers went out. I think that's very unfair. That's actually disrespectful um, to kind of act like they just chop liver,
Mm.
and they're not. They have an elite defense at the end of the day. If you have an elite defense, it always puts you in the game. It always gives you an opportunity if you have an elite defense. I consider their defense to be elite, right? And when you have, once again, you have an elite defense, it gives you opportunity, it gives you a chance in the game. And especially when we turn the ball over, I mean, you can't win that way.
So, although I agree with you that they were desperate, they have an elite defense. I agree with all that. No disagreeing. And I agree that fans take teams like the Jets, the Dolphins, but I think fans tend to take teams in the AFC, the other teams in the AFC East for granted, and how good these teams actually are, or how good the AFC East, in my opinion, actually is. But with that being said, I have to disagree to the point where I understand they get paid. I understand they're all professional athletes, and no disrespect to those guys. But while their defense is elite, their offense was putrid. And it was putrid all the way through. They got desperate at the end. You had a 10-point lead with an elite defense on the opposite side of the field as well. But
Yeah,
the one thing you did not have that you have that the New York Jets did not have, no longer after Aaron Rodgers went out, was an elite quarterback and an elite wide receiver. Garrett Wilson's good, but he ain't there yet.
yeah,
No, at no point in time on that field last night did the New York Jets offense have the weaponry that the Buffalo Bills had, and they were spotted 10 points.
yeah,
To me, that's a problem. That's a huge problem to me, and it is concerning because whatever it is with this team, they don't finish. They don't finish people off. And people can say, hey, it's Sean McDermott. They ain't got nothing to do with it. The players are on the field. That got to do with the quarterback putting your foot on the other team's throat and saying, this is it.
yeah,
This is over.
yeah. I can agree with that. I would like them to have more of a killer instinct to finish games, because there has been kind of a trend
Yeah.
to let teams linger around a little bit. And when you let professional teams linger around, it might not turn out good for you because it take a couple plays, that momentum change. The next thing you know, you in a ball game. So I can agree with that. I can agree with that where, they're not finishing. You got to finish. And I think I'm just not there yet where I'm like, it's not that big a deal to me. I got them finishing 12-5, and I don't care about them winning the division.
Yeah.
Crazy as it may sound because we won the division, 3 years in a row. What does it really mean? It's cool to have a home playoff game, right? But if we don't, I'm not losing sleep.
Well, my take on that. I got the same take as I had last year, which was exactly that one as well. I don't
Yeah,
care about winning. I would prefer to win the AFC East because, like I said, you get the home playoff game. Um, you kind of control your destiny a little bit more. Obviously in the sport you want to control your destiny as much as possible. But either way, like I said, in my standings, I had this game as a loss going into this season. But like I said, that was before Aaron Rodgers went out after 4 plays. It
well,
was not
let me
returning.
ask this. What's your prediction for their record?
I think I had 13-4 with that one being a loss.
I got 12-5. I had them at 12-5 this year.
Yeah. So that being said, listen, man, I can't sit here and I know there's a lot of people who want to protect Josh Allen and protect him from criticism, and I get it, and I get it too. Like I said, I'm not gonna go full Damian Woody and say he doesn't get the criticism he deserves. Does he get the criticism that Dak Prescott gets? No, he doesn't. But then again, he also doesn't play on America's team. He doesn't play. He's not the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. That's a different job in itself. Okay. But at the end of the day, at some point we do have to look at it and say, hey, what is going on here? Because I'm going to give you some numbers here that Mud Dog looked up, and he helped me look up, and I looked up myself too. So from week 8 of last season, right, over this is the last 8 games, not including the playoffs, he had 18 passing touchdown. He had 10 interceptions, 8 fumbles, 3 for loss. 3 fumbles were lost. Like I said, that's not including the playoffs versus the Dolphins and the Bengals, which you can add another 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles to that. And then you can include last night, another fumble, 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
Okay? That is concerning. That's very concerning because the number one job for an NFL quarterback is to protect the football. There's a lot of quarterbacks around the NFL that does not have the arm talent that Josh Allen has. There's a lot of quarterbacks
Yeah.
in the NFL that don't have the legs that Josh Allen has. There's a lot of quarterbacks in this league that will never have just the overall raw talent that Josh Allen has. But what they lack in talent, they make up for protecting the football. And he does not protect the football very well. And this is not a one game thing. This is not something, well, it's one game. No. It's not one game. This is becoming a trend. And when Damian Woody compares him to Dak Prescott also last season did not protect the football. So I
Yep.
guess the question is, should Josh Allen be criticized as heavily as Dak Prescott is? What's your take?
If you having games like that last night, I mean, that's just to me, it's unacceptable. Um, the interceptions don't bother me. Well, the last interception bothered me, and that fumble bothered me.
Yeah.
Right, those two bother me. The first two interceptions, those are things you got to live with because guess what? He throw one of those up, and when the receivers go get it, everybody's singing his praises. Oh, I love how Josh take chances, right?
Mhm.
And some Bills fans, you got to be careful what you wish for. When Tyrod Taylor wouldn't take chances, they wanted a guy to take chances,
Right.
right? Now you got a guy that does that. Now it's an issue, right? Where we oftentimes Tyrod Taylor was criticized for being too safe with the ball, right? Too
Right.
cautious with the ball. Now you got a guy who not afraid to let it go, right? So you got to be careful what you wish for. But I personally don't have a problem with the first two. The last two, yeah. And also, what sticks out to me
Now,
was
first two what? First two turnovers? First two interceptions or the first?
first two interceptions.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with those. The ones he put up in there, I don't have a problem with those. Me personally, I don't. Are they careless? Yes. But do I? I'm not gonna lose sleep over those. That last fumble or last interception, and then the fumble, really. Yeah, that's unacceptable. But when we sit back and we kind of look at what Josh Allen is, I believe he's still elite. He's somebody who's going to give you turnovers. He's never going to be a less than, I ain't going to say never. Rarely is he going to have a season with less
Right.
than 10 interceptions. He's going to give you 10 to 12 picks a year.
Right.
Um, that's what it is. Um, I just think he has to play within himself sometimes. Um, and you can't take certain things away from him because you're going to take from him, right? So, but I do love the fact that he bounced back and he drove us down to give us a chance to tie it up. I would have been it would have to me I would have been alarmed and I would say it's a problem if he wasn't able to drive us down and give us a chance. You got a guy that shows mental toughness to be able to drive us down the field to give us opportunity, and he protected the ball in that situation, right? So I'm very, very encouraged by that because we could be sitting here talking about, oh, they left a minute and 42 seconds on the clock. We couldn't even get in field goal range. That's not the discussion right now, right? The discussion is, the turnovers from earlier in the game. But he did give the team an opportunity in the end. Unfortunately, how Bills fans, I've seen people say somebody's only a special teams guy or only this, that, and the third, right? But they want to talk special teams when it costs you a game. How many times have I told you, JT? People don't care about it until it costs them a game. Now fans and people want to care about special teams when it
Yeah.
literally just costs us a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why
That's
it's
it.
important to keep those guys on the roster where, oh, why do we keep them on the roster? Why is Tyler Matakevich and all of them there? That's why, so big time, we can make some big time special teams plays. So that's just my 2 cents on it. I don't like the turnovers, but at the same time, it is what it is. You got to live with those.
So the first interception I didn't have a problem with. Besides, like I said, you're throwing it up there to a 5'6" receiver. I kind of got a little issue with that, but hey, it is what it is. I live with it. It's third down. It's like a punt. You pin them deep in their own. You pin them near the end zone. You can live
Yep.
with that. Okay. The second interception I have a huge problem with, and it's because you know that the Jets' offense is struggling. Right outside of the couple big runs they had, they really didn't move the ball that much. Um, you're in. You're on the fringe of field goal range. You have a lead against a team that's struggling offensively, and I believe it was like second down. Don't take the chance. Don't take the chance. It's not. It's at that point. It's not worth it. And I've said this for multiple years now. 17 has a history and a trend. Either A, turning the ball over when we're in field goal range, or B, taking a very bad sack to knock us out of field goal range. He's been doing it since his rookie year. If you don't believe me, you go back and look at all the film. There's a lot of times where he'll take a bad sack that'll knock us out from by the 30, 32-yard line back to the 40, 41, and now this is no longer a field goal chance that we're going to have, a field goal opportunity we're going to have. Okay? So I had a very bad issue with that one. The fumble, just fall on it. Live to play another down. Just fall on it. You know, Damian Woody said today on ESPN that the recklessness of his play is scary to the point because he's jumping over people. And mind you, I want to go back to the offseason before I touch on that point, where Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott said that they spoke with him and said, hey, listen, you need to calm it down. If we lose him, that's it. And he said he was going to. And what do we see? Him trying to run people over, jumping over people. And it's at stupid points of the game. It's not to go to the end zone. It's not to get this first down. It's because you're frustrated. Well, your frustration is going to get you hurt. It's no different than him having to play on the 1-arm versus the Vikings and going to punch the ball out last year for throwing an interception with that elbow. Your frustration is going to lead to you getting hurt. And when you get hurt, that's going to officially end the Buffalo Bills 2023-2024 season. Because there's not a quarterback available that can replace Josh Allen and what he does for this team in this roster. Period. And that's when you talk about, is he elite? That's when the conversation comes to play. Who can replace him? Nobody. There's about 3 in this league that can do it. And trust me, they ain't going nowhere from where they're at right now.
Yeah.
Okay?
I know.
So those are the things that are concerning for me. You're gonna have to live and die with the gunslinging mentality. Like you said, that's who he is. That's what he's gonna be.
If you start trying to pick that apart, you taking away from him, it's not gonna be good. Now, honestly, the running, when he's jumping over people and doing things like that, sad as it may say, I mean, that's his personality. I mean, that's like telling Steph Curry to not come down and pull up from a wild range of 3. Sometimes it's like, what a terrible shot. And they go in. I mean, it's who he is. That's what he is. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes him special. That's part of what makes him special.
So let me ask this question because you got people commenting on his confidence. Do you think his confidence is shaken at all?
I'm going to say no.
I don't think we've ever even talked about that.
I'm going to say no, but I think he could be in his head a little bit right now, in his own head. Dude is special, but he's human. When he started throwing picks, he like, dang, and then you start second questioning throws. And then to me, last night had a weird vibe to it all the way around, JT. It just never felt like no team was in the rhythm. It didn't feel like – it felt like preseason-ish, where it's just like it was a good game, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't feel like any of them were in sync as much. I'm expecting a different outing. Even the Jets, it just didn't feel like they were flowing.
Yeah. I mean, it is officially a preseason game, essentially. Because this is the problem. Like when you talk about the NFL 10, 15 years ago, right? Prior to the death of Corey Stringer. Okay, if people remember, that's exactly when everything with the NFL changed with practice rules, was the death of the Vikings tackle Corey Stringer when he died. He had the heat stroke and he died at the hospital. The no 2-a-day practices anymore. The limited practice, what you could do, the limited practice schedule. And then obviously the Bills don't do joint practices, things as such. Then the cutting from the 4 preseason games down to the 3 preseason games. Mind you, your starters aren't playing in the first game. They may play a quarter in the second game, sometimes 2, and then maybe a drive in the third game. You've cut so much practice time down from these teams and these players that, your first 2 games are like preseason games. And that last night was sloppy. Even before Aaron Rodgers went down, the 4 plays he played, that was sloppy as all hell.
If I'm the Jets, I'm very, very worried. They may not win 6 games.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
They may not win. Dude, that offensive line looked bad.
Yeah. And honestly, I see people talking about our offensive line. I thought our offensive line played well. Outside of Spencer Brown.
Agree.
Outside of Spencer Brown. I'll talk about him a little later. He's the only one of the offense out of the four offensive line that I said last night did not play well. And let's give a little credit to the Jets here. The Jets got some dogs over there on that defensive line. First of all,
Yeah, people was acting like we played like the Texans, like a really, really bad team or something. Dude, them dudes and their coach, man, you gotta give him credit. He's an elite defensive coach as well. Um, but one person I was very disappointed in was Gabe Davis. I was extremely
oh my
disappointed.
God.
Um, I told you, I already said to JT, don't sign that man back. Not saying he's bad, but the money, I wasn't happy. I hope he turns it around. I wasn't happy with what I seen yesterday at all.
It's funny because we literally just talked about this last week and said his expectations for this season. And at the end of the day, what was he gonna provide when we had games where they couldn't get Diggs the ball? Now mind you, we were able to get Diggs the ball last night. But at some point they started bracketing Diggs. And we got nothing from him. We actually had to defer, and it's not just him either. Okay, no, I'm not gonna. Dawson Knox
Yeah,
is not a Dawson Knox does not escape this conversation.
not at all.
Okay, because he already got paid talking about money. All right, so we had to defer to a second year back who was not comfortable in the passing game last year, a free agent running back in the passing game. We had to throw our new gadget receiver in the backfield to get him the ball through the passing game. We had to defer to Hardy, Cook, and the rookie Kincaid in his first NFL start. And we couldn't go to our $40 million tight end and our soon to be paid by somebody number 2 receiver. That's a damn shame.
Yeah,
That's a damn shame. That's terrible.
it is. But I just not to keep defending too much, but I just think everybody was out of sync. It just never felt like we had a rhythm.
Mm-mm.
I think that's probably the cause because you have two really good defensive minded coaches and two really good defenses, so no offense won't get comfortable last night. I don't think they would have been comfortable with Aaron Rodgers either. And we probably would have won, actually, in my opinion, because Zach Wilson saved them from 4 or 5 sacks last night. If it was Aaron Rodgers, they getting home. He saved them from 4 or 5 sacks last night.
Yeah, yeah. No, but just wrapping up on the Allen concern thing, what do you want to see moving forward? I personally, I think he's gonna have a bounce back game versus the Raiders. But what do you want to see moving forward from him?
Be him.
How,
Just be yourself. Just be yourself. If you see it and you trust it, take the chance. Be yourself. Something we've been missing in Buffalo for a long time. Take the chance. Be you. Don't change who you are. I mean, be careful with the. You don't want to just be reckless with the ball, but be you.
right. And I got some stats right here too. I wanted to read off to you. This is Josh Allen's last 5 games versus the Jets because so once again, no disrespect to Robert Saleh and the Jets over there. That's a hell of a coach over there, and that's one hell of a defense. Last 5 games versus the Jets, he's thrown for 1,193 yards for an average of 238 yards per game on 35 pass attempts average. Okay, that's not very good. He's thrown for 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, and he's been sacked 15 times with 4 fumbles. So it's going to show Robert Saleh, they got something for him. He coaches very well against Josh. And remember, Josh played San Francisco when Robert Saleh was the defensive coordinator before he took the Jets job, and he praised how good Josh Allen was. So obviously how Buffalo used to try to build a team to beat Brady, Robert Saleh built a team to combat Josh Allen. So,
yes, sir.
Much respect to the New York Jets over there. So moving on, I want to talk about Sean McDermott's debut as a defensive coordinator last night. I mean, it's not a debut; he's been a defensive coordinator, but it obviously taking the reins from Leslie Frazier when Leslie Frazier resigned. How did you think he did? Give him a grade for last night.
I'll give him a B a solid B, B plus. I really love what I seen out of the defense. The defensive line looked much improved last night. Hopefully, let's
Yeah.
keep that up. And it's not because they have a bad offensive line. All right. I'm talking about right tackles. Mekhi Beckford, or what's his name? Uh, they right tackle for the Giants. For the Giants. Wow. The Jets. Mekhi
Makai Becton. Makai Becton.
Becton. Dude, he looked terrible.
Yeah.
He looked awful. That was bad. I think
It
Spencer
was.
Brown played below average. That dude played horrible. Um, I'm really, really excited about what I seen out of Rousseau. Ed Oliver
Yeah.
was doing his thing. I really like what I seen out of the defense. They're a lot more aggressive. Um, and as you see on that long run, while we need people that can really flat out run, because Benford hunted uh, Brees
Brees
Hall
Hall
down,
down. Yeah.
and that was major. So just kind of looking at the defense and going over that, what's kind of your take on it? What do you think, JT, about the defense? What would you grade them? Um, what you think is our biggest strength yesterday?
I think our biggest strength was just honestly the aggressiveness.
Yep,
I think that we saw a different level of aggressiveness that we've seen when they were under Leslie Frazier. Now, mind you, I'm not putting the blame on Leslie Frazier for the defense and the way this defense was the past couple of years. Sean McDermott also, and I'm just going to make this clear, crystal clear. Sean McDermott was in that defensive room as well, had input and had to sign off on that defense the Bills were running. So he's not. If you're blaming Leslie Frazier for whatever defense we supposedly didn't have the last couple of years, you got to blame Sean McDermott too. So, but I'm glad he stepped up and he's taking it over and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna put this on my shoulders. I'm gonna ride or die with it, and we're gonna do it my way." I
yeah,
thought that the defense was flying around. I think undoubtedly after one game, going with Terrell Bernard was the right call. And maybe this gives me a little bit more clarity of why they were so okay with letting Tremaine Edmonds walk.
yeah.
Terrell Bernard, once he got settled in last night, the kid played. The kid played real well. Okay? So like I said, obviously we wanted to keep it going, but he was so instinctful in the passing game that it almost looked like Milano playing middle linebacker. That's how instinctful he was with checking crossing routes and things of that such. Um, Obviously, outside of the couple runs from Brees Hall, when you're a pass rushing defensive line like that and you're getting upfield, you're always going to be susceptible
Yep.
to some chunk plays and runs. But let's really think about it. How many of those chunk run plays led to touchdowns?
Good point. Good point. Um,
I don't think
yeah,
any. I don't think they got a touchdown off any of the chunk runs. So I think it was all field goals, if not turnovers. So um, I thought that the secondary was aggressive. It was great having obviously Micah Hyde. You can definitely tell the difference of having Micah Hyde out there and having a healthy Jordan Poyer. Christian Benford.
absolutely.
Christian Benford showed this is why he's the starting job. Why he won the starting job. Um, Teron Johnson got cleaned up there a little bit, got ran over there a little bit last night. So I don't know. What do you think about Trey White? I guess that's a good question. Do you think Trey is back in the form completely?
Think about it. How many plays was made on him besides that crazy catch? That
Mm,
dude was playing, man. That dude was
mm,
playing. I think
mm.
Trey all the way back.
And mind you, he did miss the tackle on Brees Hall, but then actually I was watching the play broke down by Cover One, and actually, you know what happened on that play? The Jets had three tight ends lined up to that side,
Yep.
and the Bills never shifted their second level of linebackers over to cover up each gap. So when they shot each gap they were supposed to shoot in, Trey White actually had both gaps on the outside because they never slid. They
Fire in the
never,
hole.
yeah. So he actually kind of got put in a really bad spot there at that point in time. So other than that, I thought the defense played well. I think Leonard Floyd is. I mean, Leonard Floyd's a monster. Leonard Floyd is a monster. You've been saying it for the last couple of years. Get Ace a guy who is a sack specialist, a pass rush specialist, and that's exactly what Leonard Floyd is. And I just can't wait till we get Von Miller back. And Obviously, Greg Rousseau again last night, putting pressure on from the defensive tackle spot on third down. Can you imagine when Von Miller is back, having a third down formation of Greg Rousseau at defensive tackle, Leonard Floyd on the edge, Von Miller off the edge, and Ed Oliver? That's gonna cause problems.
Major problems. The stunts they could pull is crazy.
So, outside of, like I said, the few runs, this team's always going to be, I can tell you right now, this team's always going to be susceptible to some run plays here and some rush yardage. It's just that when you get inside that 20, that 30-yard line, it's going to be really tough on teams. So, and like I said, it's going to be different. It's going to be different between kicking field goals and scoring touchdowns. Which I think, who else do I want to talk about as far as on that defense went last night? I agree with you. Ed Oliver played well. Terrell Bernard played well. Matt Milano is getting better year by year.
Yeah, that dude is a beast. He's a beast. He's a baller. Point blank period. Defensively, just Terrell Bernard was the right choice. The way it looked yesterday.
Right. Still a long season to go, but from night one, he graded well. Like I said, I don't know if I've ever been a witness of sports where a person has lost their job to someone who didn't play one snap. That wasn't a first round pick or something like that. Like, he could have went up there on one leg and still did better than Terrell Dodson did. But I'm not even gonna get in that. So, what do you want to see from Sean McDermott's defense moving forward? Is there any tweaks, any changes that you would like to be put in effect there?
Finish when you get home with the quarterback. Finish.
Yeah. How many sacks you think they missed out? They missed out on 2 on Rodgers, and I say they probably missed out on 2 to 3 on Zach Wilson. So about 5 they missed out.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Obviously, there was some big news for the defense last night, too. Speaking of his defense and his debut, Kaiir Elam did not make his 2023 Bills debut. He was made inactive in the loss of the Jets. A lot of chatter about this, man. Some people like, it is what it is. We have Christian Benford. Some people disagree. I'm telling you right now, I hated this. I hate this move. What you got for me on this?
I'm willing to bet he'll be active this week and Dane Jackson to be inactive. That's my prediction. It's week 1. I don't want to put too much into it. I think he still has a bright future on this team. I really don't look too much into it. That's just how I feel.
I got a problem with it. Once again, I've been saying it before. You have to play him. I get it. Like, we've been toying around and yo-yoing with this cornerback position since the day they got here. From EJ Gaines to Levi Wallace to EJ Gaines to Josh Norman. We always have this yo-yo effect. Now, personally, I think Benford's got this job, and I think he's gonna hold on to it. But I've been saying before, if you want to get the most out of the pass coverage for this particular roster, you need to move Trey White to the slot. Yeah, you're going to lose a little bit in tackling for Teron Johnson. I get it. But this is a pass.
A lot of it. You're going to lose a lot of it.
Yeah, you're going to lose some. You will. But at the end of the day, when we start talking about, and I said it before, when we start talking about Cincinnati and Miami and some of these other teams, it's going to come down to coverage. And the fact that Kaiir Elam is not active for technically would it be his 20th game with the Buffalo Bills, 19th, whatever it is, it's an issue for me because you're missing. It seems to me that you're missing on another pick. And now I'm questioning on your ability to develop your own draft pick. So either A, you're not developing these kids correctly, or B, you're drafting the wrong people. Because now your second round pick from a couple years ago, Boogie Basham, has been traded. AJ Epinesa barely hit the field last night, and when he did, it would just obviously give somebody a breather because he didn't make an impact at all. and now you have Kaiir Elam. and he's inactive. I understand he lost the job. Totally get it. So does that mean that he's just not good? Or does that mean you can't use him for this roster right now because he can't play special teams possibly?
I think it's a scheme fit, depending on what you are anticipating from another team. Could be that. I really believe that him and Benford will end up eventually being the corners here. I've been saying that.
But if you keep playing games like this, his representatives are going to get him out of here.
You have zero leverage, though.
I wouldn't say zero, though. Because, first of all, let's be honest with you. Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, they're not going to keep anybody in this locker room that's not held. That's not happy. They've already shown that multiple times.
Yeah, but the one thing his father and his uncle are going to do, they're going to make sure he handle business the right way.
Mm-hmm.
They've been through it.
And I get it, but there's nothing wrong with, hey, listen, this ain't working out for me. I would like a change of scenery. I'm going to do it in private. I won't do it in public. But I'm just looking at this from outside looking in. I'm like, listen, what are we doing here? So if you didn't have a roster spot for him and Dane Jackson, then I'm sorry. Dane Jackson has 1 year left on his deal, and I think he's a very viable corner in this league. I actually believe he's a starter. Then you should have traded him after camp. You should have traded him then.
I've been saying they should have traded Dane, but it's gonna be interesting how this unfolds. I think this probably is one of those wake up call inactives. I'm anticipating he'll be active against the Raiders. Dane Jackson probably been inactive.
I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. To me, sometimes this regime, it just seems like we overthink things. We make things extremely complicated when they don't need to be that way. And this number 2 cornerback position has been complicated since the day that Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott has gotten here. And
that's a fact.
It's always been complicated. It's always been like, if you go on social Facebook and you used to put relationship status, it's complicated. That's what it would say for the Bills cornerback position number 2.
That was the status for a long time.
Yeah, it's like, man, like, let the kid play. Let him play. You redshirted him last year. Then he comes in the playoff game versus the Bengals, and he actually shows something. He shows elite athleticism. I don't know, man. I've said it, and I've been saying it before, and I'll say it again. At the end of the season, you need to make a decision. If Trey White is not going to be here long term, and you want to get that contract, then make the move. If that's okay. That's what you want to do. If he is going to be here, then move him to the slot and put those 2 boys on the outside, and you have 3 playmakers. As much as I like Teron Johnson as a football player, he's not very good in coverage. He's not a good cover corner at all, in my opinion, especially when it comes to man coverage. And even and you're going to get a lot of man in the slot.
I can agree with that. I just think he brings so much value in the run fit game, in his own. I don't see it.
Something got to shake then, because I mean, if you don't do that, then right, are you going to go into camp? Are you going to tell Kaiir Elam and his representatives, hey, you know what? 1 more year, kid. You want on the bench 1 more year. This got Leotis McKelvin vibes written all over it for me.
I just don't think so. I can't see his parents have been, his dad and uncle have been there, and they know how things can go. I just don't see it with him. I just don't. Anything can happen. I just don't.
Well, let's look at it this way, right? So his dad clawed from the bottom. Right? I think his dad was undrafted. Had to always fight for a roster spot. Found his way. Was loyal to Bill Was it Bill Parcells he's with? Or Rex?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Or Rex Ryan. Okay, he was with Rex. Made a 10-year career out of it. But his uncle was a first-round pick. Went to a situation, maybe it wasn't the best situation for him. That situation led to him coming out there and pretty much get put out the NFL. You got two different situations come from Unc and Dad though. So
But,
Unc makes
yeah, two different situations. But at the end of the day, they understand NFL business, and they understand if he waited out, eventually his opportunity is going to come. And then also, who knows? They may have told Kaiir Elam the exact plan. We assuming he may know the exact plan of what's going on. I just don't. I don't see them giving up on him with the physical tools that he have. I don't see it.
is there, someone asked, I forgot and see who asked it. Is there a possible position switch?
Could be a safety, maybe.
Maybe I don't know. I mean, that's something that they would know in practice. You know, I know it seemed that Benford would have been the guy that would have been more likely
I
to
knew
switch.
Benford wasn't going there. I told you before Benford was going to be starting.
Yeah, you did. You said all summer. You said it's gonna be the guy. So,
I
I don't
think
know.
I don't think it has nothing to do with Kaiir Elam. I really don't. I think it's just that Benford is just that good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting, man. But yeah, I mean, I pretty much sums up the defense. We'll see what they do against the Raiders this week. Obviously, Josh Jacobs coming. Um, Hunter Renfrow, Jimmy Garoppolo, Devontae Adams. So that should be an interesting matchup there. I think the Bills need to bounce back. But one other person I want to talk about is Spencer Brown. Okay. Just said a couple weeks ago. Not comfortable with this dude on the field. Not comfortable with this dude blocking. If he does block, you need to put a tight end on his side. And lo and behold, last night, he gives up 1 sack, a QB hit, 3 hurries, five pressures, and a penalty.
Well, I think you look at like a Lionel Collins, right? I'm a fan of Spencer Brown, but look at Lionel Collins. That may be a name you may want to bring in and see what kick the tires on that, see what's happening. Because I'm to the point now where you may have to address that. You may have to make a change, and obviously Jason Peters signed with Seattle today.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah,
oh,
yeah. I'm not happy.
that was a name that you wanted. No, you got to do something. This is not working. Okay, and I get it. You can't pay everybody, and there's not always going to be a first round pick on the field or a high level rookie that's on a rookie contract. So there's always going to be some person on your line that's not paid. Okay, Cyrus Torrance is a second round pick. Mitch Morse is paid. Ryan Bates is your backup. They paid him. They pay him pretty decent as well, right? Deion Dawkins is on a decent sized contract, and Connor McGovern just got signed to free agency. So I get it. You can't pay everybody. Spencer Brown goes against guys who have strength, and he gets pushed right back into the face of Josh Allen.
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
He goes against guys who are speed rushers, and they go right around him. And they don't do anything special. It's always just a hook move underneath, low pad level, go around. It's the same move every time. Never changes. Different teams never changes. Okay? At some point now, you need to bring in competition for this dude. And you need to do
I
it
agree.
right. You need to do it right now. And I mean real competition. I'm not talking Brandon Shell. I'm not talking who's the guy? Quessenberry. I'm talking real competition. Because those weren't real competitions. Those were guys that you said, all right, you know what? Here's a veteran. We're going to push him a little bit. That wasn't a real push. You knew he was going to be starting. So last year, you said that he went into the offseason. They said that he went into the offseason healthy. Right? He was going to come back better than ever because last year he didn't have offseason. I'm okay with that. I agree with you. Fine. That's cool. He looked no better last night than he did 2 years ago.
Yeah, I can't even argue for my man no more, JT. I can't. I've been arguing for him. At this time, you got to see what's out there. You got to see what other options you can have to push him. And now Lionel Collins got cut from the pup list from
The Bengals?
the Bengals. I mean, you may have to look at that.
You got to look at something. You better look at something. It's always seemed that we look at a running back or some cornerback or safety or something on Tuesdays. We better have somebody in here. Well, it ain't gonna be today, but you better have somebody there next week to look at because he's gonna get your quarterback killed.
Well, you work people out on Tuesdays, so they might. I mean, probably not a big name. We'd have heard about it by now, but yeah, we need to bring somebody in.
No, this is bad. I'm done with this, and I don't care if he's cool with Josh. I don't care if he's cool with people in the offense. It has to change. The other thing is, Sean McDermott made a very interesting comment today, where he talked about. Did we talk about Gabe Davis? We didn't talk about Gabe Davis already, right?
Touched on it, yes.
Okay, actually, I'm doubling back then. But no, other than that, man, I just want to talk about really quick. What do you think about the media spotlight on Josh Allen? Because now a lot of people are blaming. Maybe he's losing focus, which I find it to be bogus personally. Obviously, he has a Madden cover. He has the Gillette commercials. He just signed a big Gatorade deal a couple of days ago. And a lot of business ventures. Do you think that there's anything about focus with Josh Allen?
I'm going to keep this very simple. No. He's allowed to have a life, people. He's allowed to have a life. No.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's this. I think the issue with still doing too much is decision making. It's trusting his arm too much. That has nothing to do with focus. He doesn't like a guy that goes on that football field. It's not well prepared. I think that with any major athlete you have, there's going to be endorsement deals. There's going to be commercials. There's going to be things that come with it. There's going to be popularity. Obviously, he's still getting new to all this. I think a couple years ago when I met him, he wasn't used to all this popularity.
Yeah.
Even his rookie year, from Josh Allen's rookie year to now, there's a whole different fanfare. There's difference between Buffalo spotlight and national spotlight.
Absolutely. Totally different.
But end of the day, I mean, he got to make his money. So I think Josh is fine on that. And what do you think about Ken Dorsey? You got a lot of comments about Ken Dorsey's offense. I'm like, to me, I didn't see an issue with the offense.
I didn't see zero issues. Just, hey, you got to execute. I didn't see any issues with it.
I saw one bad play call all night. I felt it was a bad play call. The overtime run on 2nd and 15.
I didn't mind it. And the reason being because you want to catch them unexpected. Sometimes you got to take that chance, right? If they was a little lax, you run that play and he gets a 8-yard gain. I mean, that changes a lot. I don't mind it, me personally.
I only had a problem with it because that the Jets were playing downhill, and I get it. You're trying to catch them. At that point in time, especially with Josh Allen coming off of the rhythm that he just had for that final drive in overtime and then receiving the ball, I'm probably, to be honest with you, I'm not taking the ball in his hands.
Yeah,
I'm not taking the ball out of his hands. So that's probably the only issue with the play call. I thought that Dorsey did actually a great job of getting everybody involved, except Gabe Davis, because Gabe Davis didn't get himself involved, and that's Gabe Davis' fault. But
absolutely.
I thought he got everybody involved. I didn't even check and see how many people touched the ball yesterday, but I know it was Diggs. You had Hardy involved. You had Damian Harris involved. You had Latavius Murray got involved in the fourth quarter. Okay, and actually, very strong run game I thought yesterday. You're not just gonna go pound the Jets for 5-6 yards per carry, but I thought the running game was very efficient, and he used all three backs correctly. I think he could have used Damian Harris a little bit more, but in the run game,
I would like to see him run the ball a little bit more.
But overall, I thought the balance was probably better than I've seen it.
Agreed. Definitely agree.
And the one thing I did see from Ken Dorsey, I didn't see last year that he did last night, is he used the passing game as an extension of the run game with just quick passes to the flats.
Yep.
So we got a couple questions here. Our man Dame Wright says, after one game, will the Bills use more 12 personnel offense? I like the 2 tight ends. I say absolutely.
No question. We're gonna see a lot of that this year.
The biggest reason I think why is because we don't have a defined number 3 receiver yet.
Yeah, I think Kincaid's just that good where he forcing it. First,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's going to be the 3. Kyle Yeager asked, any way the Bills shed the Trey White contract next year? Benford, Elam take the roles next year, or is Trey staying for life? Elam isn't that good. Either isn't good, or QB depth is, or CB depth is just that good. Yeah, I think you spoke on this earlier.
Yeah, I don't think they get out of Trey contract next year. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not the cap guy, but I would think that Benford and Elam is their future at the corners. Trey White, if it is possible, he has trade value. Somebody would trade for
Right.
that dude so quick in the offseason. If you wanted to go that route, I think that's probably the best route to go with those 2 young guys. You got total cap control with them if you could get out of trades with a trade. And I don't want to trade Trey White. I'm a huge fan of him, but business wise, you can literally go out there with Kaiir Elam and Benford as your starting corners. I don't think that's a bad situation. But I mean, then again, I'm just talking, but what's the possibility it could be? I think Trey White's so good, you can't let him.
And also, I think one other thing that we didn't talk about is the possibility. Obviously, Mike Hyden last year, his deal, Jordan Poyer has no guaranteed money after this year, pretty much, on the 2-year deal. He signed. Trey White possibly moving back to free safety. I think that would be a possibility, and that way you would have
Very possible. I just worry about the tackling, but I think it's possible.
Yeah. Let's see. I know we had a couple more questions here before we get off air. Oh, okay. Cody Wells asked, with Kaiir cover skills, could they convert him to safety, possibly be a replacement for Hyde when he retires? I think we kind of answered this. I don't. If they thought that, I think that we would have seen some remnants of it already.
Yeah, we'd have seen them dipping and dabbing with that already, like they did with Cam Lewis last year.
Yeah, and that actually worked out pretty well for us.
Yeah.
So, and they did with Benford last year too as well. So, let's see. Cody Wells also says, with Bernard hurt last season, seemed like he didn't play that much. Or did he take the big leap this offseason? He wasn't hurt.
He's just behind Trey
Tremaine and Milano. But yeah, but I think they said he added like 10 pounds.
You could tell.
He added like 10 pounds. So, other than that. And man, Ray Cruz asked, is Jordan Phillips injury status? I actually didn't read up on it. I don't.
He finished the game. He was hurt and came back and finished the game.
Yeah. So at this point, man, before we get off air, what are you trying to do? Are you giving Gabe Davis a couple weeks to try to figure this out and be involved? Because there's going to be some names out there in that trade market. Do you think the Bills are forced to make a move, or they just stuck?
You know how I feel. I'm still mad we didn't get D-Hop because I think that would have been the perfect number 2 for Diggs. I mean, yeah, you give him a couple weeks and then you see what's out there. Like, I mean, I just don't. I don't know, man. In a game like that, man, I'm expecting you in the contract year to really step up. I mean, he made one nice catch, but you got to step up.
As Ray Cruz says, as you said, that Mike Evans.
Wish we could afford him.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And that's why it makes me upset that sometimes we don't be the ultra aggressive. What I mean by that is how the Jags went and got Calvin Ridley and just sat and just dealt with the suspension.
Yep.
That would have been a guy. We'll know more. Like I said, a guy that I think I was telling you on the phone last night, a name I would keep an eye on is Deontay Johnson. If Pittsburgh struggles, there's going to be some receivers that come available around the trade deadline. Personally, I would love to see them try to use Khalil Shakir a little bit more. I think he has a lot of value, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So, other than that, man. Oh, actually, what I do want you to talk about tonight. I know, unfortunately, we had heard the news of passing a former NFL player in Buccaneers, Buffalo Bills, Buffalo legend, Mike Williams. I know you knew Mike. So I wanted to take a couple minutes and you just talk about who Mike was as a person. Not necessarily just a player, but just as a person.
First of all, I'd like to send my condolences to his family, his loved ones, his children. Um, it's just a tragedy. That's such a great person. Is gone. People like to talk about the football side. I'm gonna talk about Mike the person, right? Playing youth football and basketball, and playing basketball summer leagues and competing against Mike, and me and Mike being cool. Always love, always respect when we seen each other. He is truly, people throwing it out there now, but he's been, it's unfortunate that now people want to say it, but he's a Buffalo legend. You talking about first team all West New York football and basketball, all around athlete. He was actually in the Syracuse basketball team for a period of time as well. So you talking about just all around just phenomenal athlete, great person. He's done a lot for a lot of people. And he will truly be missed. Coldest wide receiver, in my opinion, to ever come out of Western New York. He represented the right way. We were in a rookie minicamp together with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We represented. We always say we got to put on for the town to represent the town, and he damn sure did it the right way. He went down there and took care of his business and let people know West New York has ballers. So I just want to send my love. It was like a punch in the gut when I heard that. My dog, man. Mike, you will be missed, brother. And once again, my condolences, my prayers to his kids, his family, his loved ones. You talking about a great dude. That was a good dude.
Yeah. I figured I wouldn't give you a minute to talk because I said, a lot of times we know the person with the helmet on. Fortunately, you got to know Mike, the guy the person without the helmet. And I think I always say that it gets swept under the rug a lot of who the person is, because we are people, and like you always say, that's just your profession.
Yeah.
You have families, you have lives. So like I said, I didn't know Mike very well. I knew of him, obviously being from the town, and obviously followed him just like I follow anybody else from the city of Buffalo, New York, that makes it in any sport. Because it's not many. It's not many. So with that being said, I do got a little cut up video of some highlights as our tribute to Mike tonight, just of the football player he was. And once again, I echo James, just condolences to his family, and he will be missed. So other than that, guys, we'll catch you guys next week. Hopefully a different result. And as always, thank you for tuning in. This is nothing personal, just Buffalo. I am your host, JTM. My co-host in the building with me, former NFL running back James Mallory. Peace. We'll catch you later.
They're spotted down at the 3-yard line. Freeman squeezes into the end zone. It's tipped up. Caught. Touchdown. And welcome to the NFL. 3rd and long, and this pass is caught on the crossing pattern, and it's complete to Mike Williams, who's into the end zone for the touchdown.
And here it comes. They pick it up this time. And an open receiver down the middle of the field is Mike Williams, and that's a big play for the Buccaneers. To the end zone to Williams. Jump ball, and that is a touchdown. Williams able to take it away in traffic, and now a point after away from making it a 21-all game.
Moving left, shotgun formation again, another blitz coming. Here's a pass over the middle, caught by Mike Williams, the 50, 45 to the 40, Mike Williams to the 30, Mike Williams to the foot race, to the 15, 10, 5, touchdown Tampa Bay, Mike Williams with another touchdown. My goodness, the rookie's got a handful now, 5 of them, and a great throw on a crossing pattern from Josh Freeman.